Hi, this is Joe again with another review. For the sake of this video, we're going to be discussing the 1955 comedy, The 7-Year The 7-Year Itch, starring Marilyn Monroe. Of course, this film is based on a popular play of the same name, and it's also one of the most iconic and infamous roles that Marilyn Monroe had in her career. And I'm going to get into why in a minute. And of course, this film, even though Marilyn Monroe is the co-star in this film, this film is not usually her movies are usually from her perspective, but this one is really not from her perspective, and it has almost like a minor role to this thing, compared to the guy who is the main character in this film, which happens to be I forgot I'm drawing a blank on the guy's name, but it starts off with this husband who works at a book publisher. His wife and his young son are going away to spend the summer up in upstate New York, because this movie takes place in New York City, and he's spending the rest of his summer, trying to get books out, for the fall rush and everything. So while he's working, about within the first full day that his wife and kid are out of town, a girl moves in upstairs because she's subletting the apartment upstairs, and she's a model. Big surprise here that she was a model by profession, and is played by Marilyn Monroe. And it's also kind of funny because I'm going to get into a real funny inside joke here in a minute. And of course, throughout the rest of the movie, he becomes more and more attracted to Marilyn Monroe. And the reason, and I should mention before I go any further, the reason why this movie is titled The 7-Year Itch is because this guy the main character is married to his wife for 7 years, and he's reading the book that he's reading to see if his company would print this book or to publish this book. It's written by a psychiatrist, and it says usually if a couple is married for 7 years, usually they fall out of love and the marriage breaks up, or there's some infidelity involved and that type of thing. So as this guy who works for the publishing company is reading this book about the 7-year itch, that's why he meets Marilyn Monroe, and he's thinking of maybe possibly having an affair with her. And most of this movie, I have to point out, most of this movie has to do with stuff that goes on within his imagination of what his wife would think, what his neighbors would think, what Marilyn Monroe's character thinks, what the carpet guy would think. Because there's a running gag when a guy comes to the house to pick up some old carpeting, and his wife says, arrange for this carpet guy to pick up, either to clean it or dispose of it, whatever. And throughout the rest of the movie, he says, "Oh, what's this guy going to think? What's this girl going to think? What's this person going to think?" And things becomes, and you have all these clips or the scenes with what goes on in the husband's mind. So after a while, it gets kind of annoying. It gets kind of confusing after a while about if it's really reality, or if it's really, or at least reality within the course of the film, or what goes on in this guy's mind. Of course, big shock, a big spoiler for those few of you who've never seen this movie. The guy at the end, and it is about an hour and 45-minute movie. So throughout practically for an hour and 40 minutes, you're seeing scene after scene after scene of what goes on and what this guy is thinking about how his wife's going to react, how this person's going to act. And there's one scene where his wife's carrying a gun and shoots the husband. And stuff where Marilyn Monroe says, "Oh, this guy trying to attack me. He's playing chopsticks on the piano." And there is one famous scene where Marilyn Monroe's wearing this beautiful dress where one strap goes around the neck like so, and they're playing like chopsticks in the piano. Yeah, this beautiful girl, this beautiful sexy dress, and all you're doing is playing chopsticks on the piano. I mean, come on. and you know, and that type of silliness of this movie, and it took him about an hour and 40 minutes of an hour and 45-minute movie to finally decide to actually go travel upstate, or to and not really upstate, but to Maine, stay in Maine, to go see his wife and kid. I mean, come on! It took him all that time to decide. I mean, they really stretched it out. The movie could have been maybe 20 minutes shorter, and it would be a much better film than that. Of course, as I mentioned earlier in the review, the most famous scene, the most iconic scene, even though this is not really one, I feel is like not really one of the best Marilyn Monroe films as a whole. I still think maybe movies like Niagara or Jamming Before Blondes or Bus Stop to be, or one of Marilyn Monroe's better roles, or even a movie like The River of No Return to be a better Marilyn Monroe movie. This thing is not that great anyway as a plot. I think it's one a stereotypical 1950s, you know, family, almost a family-friendly comedy. But this movie does contain one of the most iconic scenes in Marilyn Monroe's career, and one that drew up the most controversy, especially with her then husband, Joe Dimaggio, which of course, I think you all know what scene I'm talking about too. It's a scene where she's standing over a subway grate and she's wearing this beautiful white dress with a skirt, with a skirt that's just past her knees, and and her character likes to stand above the subway grate, and because she gets a breeze and her skirt goes up, and it goes up past her knees, and it's for 1955 there's for 1955 audiences that was very, very raunchy. Of course, now we're almost 70 years later, in the year 2021, that is tame compared to the movies that you see, whatever movies are out there now for 2021 because of the stupid virus. That is such a tame scene. But Marilyn Monroe was then married to Joe Dimaggio at that time, and he was actually on the set. Dimaggio was actually on the set when they filmed that scene, and he went crazy. He went apeshit crazy for that scene because it was making Marilyn Monroe to a sex symbol. I said, hello, this was already, by 1955, Marilyn Monroe was already a world-renowned, world-famous, blonde bombshell sex symbol by 1955. So even before she married Joe Dimaggio, she was already known as a sex symbol. So for her to have a scene where she's standing on top of a subway grate and her skirt blows up past her knee, that is so lame and so tame, and compared to like I just said, by today's standards, it's nothing. But Dimaggio was so jealous and so protective, and he loved Marilyn Monroe so much that he thought that it was degrading to her, degrading to her character, degrading to women, and not only women as a whole, but specifically to Marilyn Monroe, is degrading to her because they're trying to keep having her to be a sex symbol in these movies, and so he went crazy, and they almost shut down the picture because of what Dimaggio did. He almost pulled her from, he tried to force Marilyn Monroe to quit the movie and break the contract to do this film. But thankfully, they calmed Dimaggio down, and Marilyn Monroe was able to finish the rest of this movie, and not too long after that, Marilyn Monroe and Joe Dimaggio got divorced, in part because of that famous scene in the movie. But I think it was much deeper stuff than that one scene in the famous scene in The 7-Year Itch. But other than that particular scene, the rest of the movie is way too silly, way over the top silliness throughout this movie. And the husband is so neurotic, it would drive you crazy how neurotic this guy is if he should have an affair with Marilyn Monroe or not in this film. I mean, it was just so. I mean, just rolling my eyes, just thinking of this movie again. But what this movie is, and this movie is usually about 10 to 15 minutes longer than the usual Marilyn. Because usually Marilyn Monroe movies usually about an hour and 35 minutes, and they're about 10 minutes longer. and it's just, I mean, this movie just really didn't do it for me. I like the other three movies. My favorite Marilyn Monroe movie, which I previously reviewed, so check that out if you haven't seen it, and that's Niagara. That's my favorite one of the Marilyn Monroe movies that I've seen thus far. I'm planning to watch more, see more of them, and hopefully do more reviews of Marilyn Monroe movies later on. Because about a month ago, they one of the over-the-air movie channels that you can pick up, you know, if you're a master antenna or even some cable companies air this broadcast this channel, that's movies, like 5-2 or something here in New York. And a month ago, they showed a whole bunch of Marilyn Monroe movies, and I first started to watch them now. So I'm about a month behind and everything. I'm talking about stuff with my DVR, so I'm starting to watch more, and hopefully sometime down the line I'll do more Marilyn Monroe movie reviews, because the beginning of August is the almost the 60-year anniversary of her being killed by the Kennedys, which everybody knows that the Kennedys killed her. If you believe in if you're a conspiracy nut, but the 7-year itch is iconic for that one scene. The subway greening scene with the dress being blown up by the breeze on it coming from a subway greening. But that's it. I mean, there's no redeeming scene in that movie. Plus, of course, you see there's a scene where the husband in this film is looking at a magazine, and you see a picture of Marilyn Monroe in a bikini, which is one of the few times in the movie when you see Marilyn Monroe in a bikini. Because you usually see her in a sexy dress or something like that, but very rarely you physically see her in a bikini, because most girls in a movie, you don't see them in bikinis that often. But you saw Marilyn Monroe in a bikini in that scene. But and I'm going a little bit longer for this review because there's not much to say about the 7-year itch. So that's my review of the 7-year itch. Please click on the video, please subscribe to my channel, please forward this video onto your Facebook pages, and you can check out all my reviews on my YouTube channel at WDY.com, it's OWDY, LastC.com, the homepage of my review of Chris Lee Moore, and please check out all my videos, all those videos on this website. Thanks for watching, catch you next time.